We are
We
live.
are live. Hey, GM, everyone. So, this is Nick and I'm Diego, and we are the $1 Trading Show. And as you know, we come here mostly from Monday to Thursday to talk about prediction markets. What's the state of prediction markets these days? And so, today we have some pretty cool, interesting things to talk to you guys about basically who's jumping on. Who is double betting on prediction markets, how potential insiders are making their bets on prediction markets, and we are going to cover a really cool thread from Noble Irons from generally talking about the state of prediction markets and what you should be looking for in this particular area of, let's say, crypto, but we know that prediction market goes way beyond crypto. But yeah, what this is what we are focusing on today. How about you, Nick? How are you, man?
I am good. Looking forward to covering these tweets that we're going to look at today because they're quite interesting. Like they're thing. I think I said this last time. We talk about this stuff. It's good to see other people talking about this stuff, but I think other
Yeah,
people are much better at structuring it in a way that you can follow. Whereas you and I have constant random conversations because we're on this all the time.
yeah.
So yeah,
It's good to
yeah,
see. It's
looking
good
forward
to
to it.
see someone putting an order on this crazy front there is prediction market. But it's kind of natural, because everything's growing from all the areas of the prediction market, so
Mhm.
it's still kind of messy, and it just proves that we are still really, really early. So to start with, let me share with you here. This is from Blockworks, and if you guys don't follow Blockworks, take a look at their content. It's pretty cool. So this is from Zero X Research, one of Blockworks newsletters. And last week they were just highlighting how Trump's junior investment firm made an investment of double-digit millions. So some tens of millions of dollars in Polymarket. And the interesting thing on this part is that Trump's Jr. is one of advisors from Kalshi. So it could bring us some doubt about what this guy is part of the Kalshi team. And now he's double betting on Polymarket as well. I don't know if you guys remember, but back when last year when the elections when we saw the result of the elections, everybody was talking about how Polymarket called the results before everyone else. And there was even a tweet from Mark Kaplan, Polymarket's founder, saying that Trump called him, at least Trump team called him, saying thanks, hey, thanks about what you guys did and so on and so forth. But like 1 month later or 2 months later, when Trump's Jr. joined at Kaushi, he was just saying, "Hey, Kaushi called the elections before everyone else." Do you guys, so do you guys remember? That was pretty cool.
They haven't got. It's not necessarily the art of the deal that the Trump family have figured out. It's the art of the pivot.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It
It's
is.
Polymarket.
So
It's
it
Polymarket.
just
No, but now I'm starting part of Kalshi, so it's Kalshi. No, fuck Polymarket. And now they're like, and now we own Polymarket. What are they doing? What is they do like to spread bet? They're spread betters. That's what they are.
they are. They are. So it seems that they are hedging their positions. So actually, they are part of Cauchy and now they are part in Polymarket as well. And so basically, here, Blockworks, they highlight how the numbers back this move because so Polymarket has been generating 350 million in trading volume only the week before. So here it highlights how most of the trades are spread. So back last year, by the end of the year, most of the volume, of course, was in markets regarding the elections. And this is
This is
what made
category. This is category. Okay.
this is category. So yeah, these purple bars here, this is election related markets. When we move forward here, so these blue ones here, we can see in the start of January here we had some interest here. It's politics, general politics. And it makes sense, because with a new administration, there's a lot of doubt
Oh, was that
about what's
January? So that would have been
this is.
tariffs, right? Like I presume that would have been like Trump on his tariffs.
But there was also a lot of markets about the who Trump will nominate for each one of the
Yeah. Okay.
positions as
Yeah.
well. There
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a lot of markets
Forgot about that. Yeah.
related to this. And here in May, I think here in May we could see the tariffs going on because there was the Liberation Day going forward and backward with tariffs. But we can see that this red line here, it's always there, and it's sports. So
But look
most of
how
the
big it
times,
got. Look how big
what?
it got. Look how big that
Yes,
line got from since before, even during the elections. It's like people went for election data and then found sports betting and just stayed.
it seems so. Yes, it seems so. And there is some seasonal stuff regarding sports, because here in the end of November and between January and December and January, there is some finals or some playoffs going on in multiple fronts in sports. So there's more activity. But throughout the whole year, sports are consistent there. So in the
Mhm.
last few months or few weeks, we can see here most of the trading volume here is sports, and this gray one here, it's crypto. So
Huh.
it's crypto and sports
Yeah.
most of the time. I mean, that's bread
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
butter for them.
Yeah.
So, and
And
this is
what
what
is this? So there's two shades of purple here, right? So what's this? What's this shade of purple that comes in at the end?
this
Or is that
is
politics? Like what purple? What does
uns,
that do?
unspecified. So it's everything else.
All the other stuff.
So
Oh,
the
okay.
white,
So that makes sense. What month was that?
it was third week of January here. Oh, sorry,
Hmm.
sorry.
Oh,
No,
not the white because that's
I'm
white.
not. Yeah, no, not the white.
Go to the
So
last like 10 bars. Yeah, where you start to see this purple window open up. What is this
okay.
purple?
So this purple, the dark purple is politics.
Hmm.
The light blue is sorry. The
Oh,
the dark purple is elections. The light blue is politics, and the light purple is not specified.
right.
So
Okay.
it's anything else.
And
Anything else could fit
what's the
here.
gray?
The gray one is crypto, and the small white one is pop culture. So Taylor
Right. Okay.
Swift, this kind of stuff. I would say this unspecified could be like Lord Miles surviving in the desert
Or that could be pop culture.
as well. So
Yeah.
it could be as well. I don't know. I think Taylor Swift and Lord Miles is not the same thing. I think Taylor Swift is pop culture.
She would probably agree. She's probably going to be like, "We're not the same guys. Did
Probably
Kanye
not,
come up and
Yeah.
steal your Grammy or whatever it
So
was,
this,
MTV
yeah,
Award?"
this okay. A hard question for you. Mr. Beast raising money for water. Is
Hmm.
that pop culture or
Nah, it's
something
other, isn't
else?
it? It's other. It's
See,
other. Yeah.
for me, that's something else. So if it's Mr. Beast, how many views or how many videos? Okay, that's pop culture. But Mr.
Yes.
Beast raising money for charity or for
Even the machines will have problems identifying
see,
this. So
yes,
I wonder how they got this. I wonder if they. So what is this volume? They must
this
get
is
access to this
this
then,
is
right?
weekly volume. Yeah, probably through APIs, Blockworks Research. I don't have. I used to
Yeah,
have access
Polymark
to
has an
Blockworks
API.
Research.
Yeah, Polymark has an API, and so does Kalshi. Kalshi, I think you need to apply for it, whereas Polymark is, I think you can just access it. And
Yeah,
the
so probably they
small
are
one.
they are getting this data because this is from Polymarket newsletter, but they are using the data from their own platform, which is Blockworks Research,
Yeah.
which I don't have access anymore. I use it too. So this is open interest. This is and this is what we've been discussing with you, and this is what you can see when you read the daily prediction newsletter. By the way, if you don't subscribe to the daily prediction newsletter, there will be where is it? There will be a QR code here on the screen soon enough, so you can follow us there. Basically, what we are highlighting there, okay, the daily prediction on Substack. So what we've been highlighting there is exactly this. It's volume and open interest. So with volume is basically the accumulated amount of money traded in each market, and open interest means the positions open for buy and sell in each one of those markets. See, the same thing that we saw here. By the end of the year, everything related to elections, open interest goes sky high, goes crazy. You guys probably remember the French predictor of the French forecaster who was betting really hard on Trump winning, even though all the media outlets was saying that
He was that
Kamala,
one line. He was the one
bro,
line.
yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy. He was making all these open interest here. I mean, buying and selling positions. And after that, what we see here, politics. Politics is also strong here, the light blue. And this is interesting. See, if we go here, we can see the crypto and sports make 80% of the volume. But when we go to open interest, we have a lot of open positions for politics. I think that it has to do more with the changes we see regarding to the news. So if we go, where's the
So
market
wait a minute.
here?
So sports is higher in volume, right? So there's more trading
Hmm.
activity in sports. So there's a
Yes,
number of users, pretty much, right? I think we
this,
could maybe say
this.
there's more people transacting in the sports categories than in the
Hmm.
politics categories, but people are betting harder in politics,
Hmm.
right? Maybe
I
because
think that.
volume is in and out. It's not just the accumulated pot. That's an important thing to
Hmm.
notice.
Okay, no, what could you repeat that? What did you say right now?
So volume is the it's not the accumulated pot of money in the market. It's the amount of trading in and
Of
out of the
traded.
market. So
Exactly. It's not when I say accumulated, it's not the price at the end of the
mhm.
resolution. That's not. I mean, it's the
It's the accumulation of
accumulated
the
trades.
intermarket trading. It's the accumulation of
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
or
Yes.
the
Yes. Yes.
total of
Yes.
the intermarket trading. So it's not how
Hmm.
much that market necessarily has in it. Um,
Exactly.
so what we're thinking is maybe there's more intertrading in sports
I think so,
than in
but
politics because it
I
moves
think
faster, right? There's more, so there's more games, and the games have a fixed window where if somebody scores, maybe you're like, this game's over, right?
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
there's a lot more velocity around it.
So let me see if I can show you this here. So see, this is basically politics. See how it changed throughout since February here.
Hmm.
See, it started with 23%, it came to 13 and then to 11%, and then it came down to 21, whatever. So I think that these markets, when it comes to politics, they are longer, they last longer than the
Yeah.
sports
So
market.
there's
So you have a
yeah.
variety of sports, so it's kind of fast positioning. But these ones, since they are longer, it's easier to have, I mean, to understand it's a larger order book that exists here. And
Yeah.
according to the news, since they are longer markets, things change a lot. So every time there is a new Fed meeting or there's a new Jerome Powell speech, things will going to change here.
Mhm.
So I think this is why we see an open interest, greater open interest here, but we see a greater volume with sports. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That makes lots of sense.
So, and let me move forward here, but basically, what we are highlighting here is how Trump Trump Jr. is both positioned, well positioned on Kalshi and on Polymarket. But still, Polymarket is the biggest prediction market out there. And we want to highlight something that came out last week on their newsletter. Basically, they had an interview with Bloomberg, and Bloomberg is one of the biggest newsletter on Substack for finance, energy, and geopolitics. Basically, people who are writing on it, so they have a really huge audience, and the writers are former commodities executives. So it comes to what we were speaking last week about how we see more interested people in those markets on Polymarket because they know what they are trading, or they at least should know. So we have experienced people trading on poly market, and this could be a sign of noise filtering for us. In this situation,
Yeah.
they just explain how they did the trade about Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz earlier this year, and actually this trade wasn't closed, but see how the chances here on poly market came up to 60%, and then they came back, and those guys had a really big position there, and they predicted this correctly. So they basically go through their rationale here to explain how they forecast this. So this is really cool, and this highlights how we see experienced people trading poly market. So if you have the chance, take a look at this
What's
one here.
the TLDR on what they did? Because I think that's the
So
interesting part.
for
Because it
this
shows you the
one,
level of sophistication in picking markets and trading within them. I will
for this
also have
one
a drink.
it was, yeah, for this one it was really interesting. So basically what they highlighted here is that everybody was looking at the war, how they were bombing each other, how they
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
were positioning their
The aggression.
troops. Exactly. So they were betting on an escalation of the conflict. On the other hand, basically they were looking at the markets,
Hmm.
traditional oil markets, and they
Commodities markets.
saw commodities basically because
Because
they use it to
they're
be
the indicator
traders.
of if a big significant event is going to happen, commodities tend to shift in a bearish or
Exactly.
bullish direction.
Because basically, for this situation, if the strait was closed, it was meaning that all the big boats would have to go around Africa to deliver the oil instead of, so it would increase a lot of time and cost of delivery. So
And
basically,
probably would be a security issue, right? Because if you're going round
as
the coast of
well,
Africa, you're going
as
round
well, because
Somalia,
of
right?
the pirates,
Yeah.
yes, for sure. So if that happened, the price of oil would increase really
Hmm.
fast. What they saw was they looked to the other side. They didn't care for the conflict itself. They started
Hmm.
to look at the price of the oil, how that was being traded, and they didn't spot any change of the behavior of the traders.
Yeah.
So they understood that, okay, if no one is pricing oil really higher, it means that they have some information that let them know that nothing's going to change on that front. So
Yeah.
even though the conflict escalates, there is no sign that the strait will be closed. So there will be no delays on delivering of oil
Because
to anywhere in
the
the
oil,
world.
the oil, oil price would be a leading indicator to whether the conflict was going to truly escalate. And
Exactly.
it didn't look like it was. It just looked like it was words. And this is the thing. It's like I think we were talking about somebody last week. Can't remember the name of their company, but they talk about like this spike or one of these spikes will have been somebody saying something, right, and the market
Hmm.
will react a couple of times to something being said. And
Hmm.
then if the same things are being said and nothing's happening, the market starts to ignore them. So like with Trump's tariffs, like I'm fairly
Yeah.
sure, even though China's was about to expire, pretty sure nothing changed in the market because they were confident that Trump was going to continue their extension because he wasn't threatening otherwise, or he was kind of, he was like, it's all end. He actually in August, was it August? He was like, all extensions end, and then like it came China's, and then it quietly comes out in the news China's extension is continuing. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to look like when you're trying to pick markets. Like you and I talk about this because we're doing our little dollar trades in Polymarket right now, and we're like, how do we like? I'm sticking to crypto because I kind of know it, although I'm getting my ass handed to me right now, right? Because
Hmm.
it's a bit volatile and I can't do the TA properly. Um, but I keep away from other things that I don't really understand. But if I was to, for
Hmm.
example, bet on something like this, I wouldn't know what to look at. But what those guys were looking at was commodity prices. So anything
Yeah.
similar to this, or you would look at commodity prices like
Hmm. Hmm.
oil and I presume that it's oil and grains for the most of it, right? Because that's energy and food. Both of them, food is energy as well, technically, right?
Yeah.
Depending on
Yeah.
how you look at it. But if something is going to affect, if something is in the in between the transportation of those things or the getting it to reach the places it's going,
Mm-hmm.
then commodity prices would be affected before everything else. And we saw it with
The wheat,
grain.
the
Yeah, we
wheat,
saw it with
yeah.
grain when Ukraine and Russia
Mm-hmm.
ended up in a war, right? Just before it, there was like
Exactly.
1,000% increase in grain because
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I think it's between Russia and Ukraine. They provide 1/3 of the
Mm-hmm.
world's grain, 1/3 of the world's food. So that's like the Middle East and Africa buy a lot of that stuff, and Putin was using that as leverage. He was like holding the grain in the docks and not letting it
Mm-hmm.
out, and then they had to do deals to get it out. But people knew that that was going to cause inflation, right? In the price of
Yeah,
food,
yeah, yeah.
and you saw the price go up before anybody in the street was talking about it.
Yeah, so kids, usually what most of people do here, they would read the news, they will watch TV, they will see, will read the
Exactly.
newspaper
Yeah.
and see what's going on. So, but these guys then,
But
and you could see the conflict escalating. So it could be, I mean, could be a reflection of the news, the spike. But what those guys were
yeah.
looking for, it was actually filtering noise and looking for specific information that made more sense for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's the advantage of having kind of experts playing in this market.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the blockchain based prediction markets is that anyone can see everything. So
Hmm.
we saw that with the French predictor back in the elections in the US, and we saw that again with Bloomberg. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And let me move forward here. So just to go through this thread from I am Nubbled Ironside, and this is, if you don't know him, take a look at his profile. I like him because he's Bjorn from the Vikings. Remember? Did you see the one?
What? No. Oh, was this a TV show?
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I never
Ragnar's
watched it.
son, Bjorn from History Channel or something. That was a pretty cool show. So basically, it highlights how prediction markets are killing it, and this is the daily volume since January this year. See, it's been doubling.
On a
It's over.
run.
It's yeah, it's more than double now. It was around $6 million volume, and now it's $14 million. So we still see that Poly market is killing it, but Kalshi is getting some steam, at least
Yeah.
in the last 2 or 3 months. And as we mentioned last week, so Poly market has more volume and more traders, but Kalshi has way more markets. So let's see how it plays for them. So basically, let's go here. So of course the volume, let me increase my screen here to make
Yeah.
it better for reading. So, okay,
There we
the
go.
volume, the volume proves there is demand for prediction markets, of course, and everybody's seeing this. So, Robinhood is making available prediction markets to all their clients.
It's
And
Kalshi
also,
though.
it
Yeah.
is. I
You
mean,
didn't mention that in the post. It's just like,
yeah, they
Kalshi
don't.
is
This
their
is,
prediction market platform, but this is why Kalshi came out of nowhere, right? Like, can you
Mhm.
go back up to that chart?
Yeah,
What
here
month is it that it starts to spike for? Like,
in
where do we start seeing
July.
the increase in growth? What month is it?
Let's see here, July, middle of
Okay,
July.
so they were talking about it in April. 3
Yes,
months
it took,
later, they start to see
yeah,
an uplift, right?
yeah, it took a little bit of time, but I mean it's natural, no? It's natural to
Yeah,
have
no, no.
some.
I was just wondering how quickly, because they didn't mention. I looked at that post and they didn't mention Kalshi in there at all.
Yeah, they don't. This is interesting.
I think they were doing stuff with them before that, because I remember during March Madness,
Yes,
Kalshi
they
did a
did.
big thing. They did over $280 million in volume around that one sporting event, which is really US specific. Like, nobody outside of the US cares about that event.
Yeah.
So, which we painfully found out after running that tool.
Yeah, guys, and I mean, just to remember, we run an on-chain, a fully on-chain March Madness competition. Uh,
And as far
in
as we know,
March,
it was the biggest one, because we
yes,
can't
it
find
was.
anybody else that did as many had as many users or
Yeah,
tickets
we
purchased.
had around 500 users, and the winner of the biggest prize got home with what, 7,000 and
Seven and a half
500
thousand dollars. Yeah.
$7,500. So I
Anyway,
mean,
that was the
stay tuned.
past. What is the
Yes,
present? Tell us. Tell me
stay
what's going
tuned.
on in this tweet.
So basically, Robinhood is using Kalshi to spread prediction markets to their users. And last week I mentioned how Interactive Brokers is doing the same. So I just opened an account on Interactive Brokers last week,
Yeah.
and there was there. Predict the future, trade your forecast, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's getting
The
interested
narratives here.
from
What I
traditional
find
players.
interesting about this narrative is it's not like crypto or meme coins or anything like that. This is like infrastructure. This is stuff any person can use because most of the time the wallets are fully abstracted and they're dealing with
Mhm.
dollar value tokens, right? So it's
Yeah.
like I don't see this going down. Maybe it will slow a bit when
Mhm.
the crypto market crashes, maybe it will slow. But even in that, if the crypto market's crashing, you can still bet on these platforms
Yes.
how deep it's going to crash and
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
have exposure to tokens itself.
Yes. That's correct. That's perfect. So, and I mean, who doesn't like prediction markets, right? Everybody's trying to forecast what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So John Wang, okay. So John Wang has been talking about prediction markets for a while, and it's also mentioned by Blockworks Research, and
Mhm.
he just joined Kalshi as well. So Kalshi is trying to get the big names, and dude, I mean, we can see. So Kalshi has partnered with Robinhood. They are backed by Trump Jr. and now John Wang. So they are trying to bring prediction markets mainstream, and it's not
Yes.
only good
Yeah.
for Kalshi or Robinhood, but it's good for the whole ecosystem being built around prediction markets. And I say about ecosystem because last week we just mentioned how some platforms are already exploring how to use your positions on prediction markets on DeFi. And I think we are going to see this more and more. So I am Nubbles Ironside, which is this account that we are checking here right now. He did this live stream last week talking about what's going on prediction markets. If you have some time later, give a listen to this. And also Delphi Digital, which is one of the biggest analytics house, I'd say, yeah, the research house in about crypto, was just outlining how Polymarket and Kalshi could be compared to each other. We are going to dive deeper on this tomorrow or the day after, so we are going to save this for later. But you can use this Polymarket analytics as well to do so. So last week we were comparing the volume, the open interest, and the number of markets on Kalshi and Polymarket, and we are going to do that later this week. So also Coinbase is also featuring prediction markets. So basically, this is from a week ago. So Robinhood, Coinbase, and Coinbase is the top exchange in the US. So imagine how many people will be onboarded to prediction markets through Coinbase.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's both crypto exchanges, brokerage houses, traditional brokerage houses, and so it just proves our point about how prediction markets are
Are you saying that
growing.
it amplifies the echo chamber that you and I are in right now, where we're like,
Maybe,
it is
yeah.
the future?
Hmm.
It's all pointing to it. We're not looking at the downside at all.
Yeah,
There's going to be
yeah. I
zero
mean,
downside.
nobody is talking about the downside here in
No.
this situation. I mean, everybody is kind of forecasting a bright future for prediction markets. Here is what we have been talking at the beginning of this string about Donald Trump Jr. betting on Polymarket through
Mm.
his investment firm. Also here, of course, Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, talking about prediction markets. Of course, he's going to shield prediction markets because probably Coinbase will
Base will
offer
be
this.
building one somewhere, right? Like,
Yeah,
or
I
maybe
mean,
Base are trying to get them over, trying to get them out of Polygon over to
maybe,
Base.
maybe. I
That'd be
mean,
a huge win.
because Base just released this new Base app, which let's say it's the Web3 front of Coinbase. So you can go to Coinbase, you can do all your stuff there, buy crypto, sell crypto, or you can go fully on chain with Base App. So basically, I mean, I don't know, nobody knows this yet, but probably they are going to I would say that through Coinbase they would offer a Web3 version of a prediction market, something close to Polymarket. Let's see. Let's just wait and see. But it makes the whole sense to see Brian Armstrong
Shilling.
shilling prediction markets. So Crypto Corio, who has over 50,000 followers, is emphasizing more how prediction markets trend using factual data and key statistics. I mean, we can dive deeper on this tomorrow as well, but we've been talking about, I mean, the relationship between the news and prediction markets, how you can use the news to place your predictions, but we just saw how Dunsberg was doing the opposite, but we can go there tomorrow. Just another highlight here, the new app building the DeFi layer for prediction markets. So basically, we saw this last week. Imagine you can open your positions on prediction markets, could be yes or no for anything, and you can use that position as collateral to you could use that as collateral to borrow money and to leverage your position on prediction markets, or to use that anywhere in DeFi. So top KOL, Cook Capital, gives a piece and shares some of existing problems of prediction market, what prediction markets could face. So we discussed that last week on Thursday.
Yeah.
Basically, there is still a gray area regarding regulations, but I think we are moving forward on this front, right, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kalshi's knocked over. It'll go region by region, right? For example, like Polymarket did their raise at the beginning of the year, raised $200 million, and then bought an exchange so they can so they can get a regulatory license via that exchange, right? So they're trying to go above board, but there's going to be loads of prediction markets that kind of sit in this funny gray area, and because of the way they're legally structured, they'll be difficult to regulate. And I think that's actually healthy as long as the people are building them aren't rugging people. It's when we start to see, I mean, Polymarket is rugged people, right? Technically, not deliberately, not actively, right? But through that UMA relationship, and Resolute people have been rugged, and I'm not sure. I need to go and research this, but we've just been so busy with like our own project. But I'm not sure how they resolved that with their user base in the end. I think for some of them, they did actually return the money to them. I don't know how you do that, like on a blockchain, but they did it. I want to jump back to the Cook Capital thing, right? So can you open that back up? Because I didn't read this part. So was he saying, I'm just looking at it right now. So he says, Trump's VC now invested in Polymarket, prediction markets, huge narrative, currently existing prediction market. Huge problem with every currently existing prediction market. Similar to stablecoins, there's no ways for users community to win. Only VCs and product team wins. Okay, so actually, yeah. So there's no way to win, right? It's if you're a good bettor, you win. There's no way to grift, right? That's what it is. Like there's very little ways to grift. And he's like a meme coin guy. So yeah, the grift is strong in the meme coin community, and it's like they believe that everybody should be able to grift off of everybody else's hard work, which I don't necessarily think is right. So it's like, but what I did just to like pump us a little bit, right? So he talks about Hyperliquid, right?
Yeah.
So with what we're doing, we believe the same, right? Because it's Web3, it's crypto. It should have the narrative where the community should be rewarded, right? And we should be everybody. I don't know. Not everybody in crypto views it should be a collaborative build sort of thing, right? Because even us as founders are taking incredibly high risk by doing this, right? Like we could go bust at this point and leave lots of money on the table or in somebody else's pocket. But the community should be rewarded for their participation, and that you don't see in Polymarket unless you have skin in the game, right? And that's like because you can get rewards for balancing the market out, right? So by putting money in, but not everybody.
But even that, it's a way to feed Polymarket's interest because they need more liquidity. So they're not giving anything for you for free. It's not the
Yeah,
case.
exactly. Whereas, like, if the way we've structured our model is, if you create a market, you can get a percentage of that market at the end. And we're working out how that mechanism works, because there's, based with liquidity, there's things that you can't do in order to actually make money, right? But the market creators should be able to make money, particularly if they've came up with the question, they understand their audience and they understand their sector. Like, they're the industry experts. If they were a consultant, you would pay them in a business to do things, right? Like, you wouldn't just say, "I'll create the market," and then, thanks. So I think he is totally right in that sense, where they're crypto, Web3, like the new term is Web3, right? But for us old people, it's crypto, right? Crypto is a two-way street, and it should always be a two-way street. It shouldn't be an absolute grift by the creators, right? Bitcoin is not a grift by the creators. Yes, there are wallets with billions of dollars in them. Yes, Adam Back has billions of dollars of Bitcoin, right? But in the end, we all get to participate in that network. And right now, the only way you can participate through Polymarket, Kalshi, is through extractive means. They extract your money, take a bit, and they take the cut. Whereas with what we're looking to do, and even like if we talk about token wise, like, it should be a way to earn money passively or with minimal work, right? So if you're like China Talks, for example, he should be able to create markets on our platform about Chinese narrative directions, right? Like, what ways it's going to go. And he should be paid for the participation in those markets. Because if people are putting volume into it, they're interested in it. If he seeded it to his audience, they're interested in it. And that person should be rewarded for it. So that's an important point where he says, it's like, crypto has went heavily VC since the last season. Because I knew VCs that were not interested in crypto until last season. Right, in the middle end of last season, we're like, "Oh, we should be in this," and now they've all kind of like set themselves up so they are. So yeah, I just on that point, like, he's totally right on that.
Yeah. So, and what? Oh, damn! Can't believe I lost this. Yes.
No,
I can go back there.
We're not losing, right?
No problem. I'm not gonna get rugged by X.
Everybody's got rugged by X, man. Elon's like the top rugger.
I wonder
socialist.
I wonder when Elon will build a prediction market here on X. I mean,
they're integrated with Polymarket already. It's just we might not see them because we're in regulated territories, right? But he integrated in it. Elon should come to us, because ours integrates in a perfect way, like, and make it part of the creator monetization thing. We've got a tool. Come by, Elon.
Imagine for every post that you do in the morning, you make a post and people can start making their forecasts on whatever direction of the topic you are talking about. That's what we are trying to do here at Groovy. So you will create the market and people can forecast on whatever you're doing here. Because this is what we want to do. I mean, so stop discussing politics with people you don't know and start asking the right questions.
Can I just say something? We have on X 239 views. Hello, everybody. If you're new, down here at the bottom of the screen is our newsletter, and we're building a prediction market platform, which is decentralized. It's for the people. So it's creator powered. If you're a creator, you got an audience, you like to ask questions. When we're live, you can jump on there and then earn 1% of that market.
Yeah, I know this is not YouTube, but like, subscribe, retweet, follow.
Whatever the fuck. Send me a letter. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on Instagram. Yeah. We can't get on TikTok. We can't get on LinkedIn because people don't love us, but we're in all these places.
Yes, and make sure to go to groovy.market and secure your username, because as soon as Groovy is live, you will need your username to play around. And whoever gets the best username after mine, you will be in a really good position. So, and this one here, we mentioned this last week. I mean, it's just showing how Polymarket ended with something that everybody was doubting when the election. So a lot of volume in elections, but the great challenge is how a prediction market survives after an election cycle. And Polymarket is handling this pretty well. I mean, In May, June, and July, for 3 consecutive months, it got over $1 billion in trading volume. So it
I
was
mean,
published by in the end of August, so we didn't have the data. But I mean, let's see. Let's wait a couple more days to see if they got like 4 consecutive months.
see if people are like the people who are doubting Polymarket and doubting prediction market need to go do a bit more homework on the historical aspect of it. In this election, Bloomberg Terminal was piping in Polymarket data. Now, I don't believe the people at Bloomberg are idiots and would just pipe in any ass data, right? They're going to pipe in stuff that's the most accurate because their tool costs a fortune, and the people who are using it can lose millions of dollars if the data is poor quality. So clearly, the clever people at Bloomberg were like, we find this data quite interesting and quite accurate and actually maybe outperforms polls. And in fact, showed that it does outperform polls. I've never really spoke to traditional media person about this, and I would love to speak to somebody that comes because I've worked at old newspapers, right, like the old traditional, like, and they're not progressive at all when it comes to technology. like like I literally sat in a room and
Nothing news on that front.
with the director of this company. It's one of the and it's part of a subsidiary, which is one of the biggest media companies in the whole world. And this was back in the day. This is like 2007, 8, or something like that. And the director of the company said, "The internet is a fad. Print is coming back." And I was just like, and all the journalists like, yes. So I've not found, even in like places like the Guardian and stuff like that, which was basically like Dick Ride and Google, all the way up until Google, they realized Google was taking its power, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're still not that progressive internally because they're stuck on this thinking they're journalists when actually they're just ad shillers, really, and narrative shillers. So I'd be interested to see how they feel about something that comes from the people, because there seems to be this thing where journalists, as a collective, I'm not going to say individuals, kind of look down at the people like, well, we'll tell you what's right. And then this is a bottom up saying, no, we'll tell you what we think and how we see other information coming in, and we won't be biased by who owns your paper or who your boss is or your raise this month or whatever it is, Rant
Yeah.
over. Rant over.
I'm not gonna name names, but we know about some prediction markets that got investment from media outlets out there.
Very big trusted media outlets.
Yes, it kind of makes sense for media outlets, because where you could filter more the noise than in prediction markets.
If they're truly built on making sure that they are accurate as possible.
That's it.
Truth, like I said, truth is
which
tainted
a
by the
challenge.
direction of light.
Yeah,
right? Truth is a tricky thing, but accuracy. I feel like everybody can agree that we would prefer more accuracy in our media and in the information that we're fed on a regular basis.
Yes, and it's not paying users to use your platform that you're going to get useful data. At least I don't think so.
That's another thing. Like paying people. That's also the tricky thing with prediction markets, where you can't get into incentivizing people to participate in the market.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to get all sorts of bullshit and bias, and it's just going to. With prediction markets, we're trying to weed out the noise.
Exactly that bias. Yeah.
If you're paying for users, if you're paying users to participate in specific markets or to show up every day, then you're going to get shit in, shit out.
Shit information, and that will not gonna help anyone. So basically, 0x Nero, how do I say that's Nero? Basically, he was highlighting the fact that imagine if you could use yield-bearing stablecoins on prediction markets. And this idea is really cool. We've been talking about that, but we also highlighted, where we are right now. Basically, a prediction market is built on top of a blockchain, and you need an infrastructure to do that. So what are the yield-bearing stablecoins out there? The big ones. The ones that you can trust, the ones that have been
USDC.
I
don't know about USD1, but we'll see.
I'm talking about specifically yield bearing. Like imagine Ethena. Ethena right now. It has been proven that it's working, but it's really new. Market cap, okay, it's growing, but it's not as big as USDC and USDT so far. So there, I would say it's a great idea. I would like to put my money on a prediction market and earn yield while I have my positions open there. But I don't
So
think we
let me
are.
clarify this before we get through, right? So I understand it, and maybe somebody
Mhm.
else. He's saying if you stick your money in the market, that market should then be attached to a yield protocol,
I believe
right?
that
Are we talking like
actually
Lego? We're talking DeFi Lego, right? So
DeFi Lego,
we're
yes,
talking. So
yeah, DeFi
then
Legos,
that
basically,
I mean
yeah.
it's interesting, right? But how do you keep the market liquid if everybody's getting out and you're plugged into a yield farm at the same time? Because the yield farm's supposed to be lending out. Maybe it's just because
Yeah,
I'm not
but
really big on lending and DeFi in that
mm-hmm,
sense. Like I
mm-hmm.
don't do it because I just feel like last time I did it, fucking protocol which was trusted got hacked like 2 weeks later, right? So I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not touching this shit, right?
Luna,
So
you used Luna
no, it
back in
wasn't
the
Luna. It
day?
was Alex on Stacks. It was
Oh,
Alex on
oh
Stacks.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're like, bah, so annoying. Now their tokens worth like fuck all, and then they get hacked again. Anyway, don't want to go down that road too much, but I wonder how that would work. Like because essentially, if everybody's money is sitting earning yield, then it needs to be kind of locked up for yield for a period of time. Like
But that's
for me, the only people who would make the money from yield because it's so little would be like us. If we did it, it would be
yeah,
Groovy
yeah.
Market would make yield. But then maybe what we could do is like take that yield and add it into our revenue pot, which then we redistribute to users later on. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
could be a
yeah.
way of rewarding people. Like if you're holding our token and we're rewarding you for holding that token, then that would be another layer of money on top of that token.
Okay, I would. Well, what I was thinking when I read that is about something different because there are. Imagine if you hold stake at ETH instead of ETH. It's just an asset that bears yield through the time. I mean, you're just
Yep.
holding the asset. So there are stable coins built right now that they are yield bearing assets just
Okay.
because you hold them. So basically,
Right.
it would be different. It wouldn't demand an integration with a lending protocol or anything like that. So
Right.
the stable coin that you use on your platform is a yield bearing asset
Right. I
itself.
understand now. Okay.
You know,
I
I mean,
wasn't thinking about it from that
yeah, no,
direction.
but I mean, what you said makes total sense as well. And this is what the platform, I always forget the name, but the platform that we mentioned last week. You know,
Gondor. How
you
can you forget Gondor? It's
Gondor,
fucking Lord of the Rings.
Gondor.
Come on.
Yes,
Gondor
exactly,
fell and
Gondor.
then it rose
Yeah.
from the ashes. Gandalf.
Gondor is the land where the elves lives.
No,
If
Gondor is the
yeah.
human city where they got their ass handed to them by Sauron, and it's the closest to Mordor, right?
Shit,
So it was where
okay,
like the
yeah,
final battle happened, and
you
they get
are.
their ass kicked, and then they ran in and they burnt their ring, and then they had their last fight, and
You are from the UK. It makes total sense. You
it
understand that
does. It's
shit. You
basically
know,
Britain. I mean, I'm fucking pretty upset that they
yeah.
made the dwarfs the Scottish people. It's just like this is unfair.
But
Greedy
anyway,
mean
we are
people. I
going
don't think so.
we are going sideways. But anyway,
He was English
exactly
though.
what Gondor. So it's two different perspectives here. What Gondor was offering. So you use your positions on prediction markets on DeFi, which is a DeFi Lego. It's perfect. It works. But I think what it's been said here in this is a yield bearing stable coin. But there's the thing that I highlighted. I mean, we don't have a lot of yield bearing stable coins out there. Their market caps is far from being close to USDC and
Stable.
USDT, of actually being the big stable coin.
Yeah.
They didn't pass the proof of time yet,
Yeah.
and that could bring. So if we want to reach retail, if we want to reach the users that are not interested in prediction markets yet, we need to guarantee their safety
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the safety of their assets. So it's just too early to believe that is something that's going to happen now. Maybe in the future, but as I mentioned, everything is built on top of a blockchain. and we need that infrastructure ready for that. I don't think we are there yet because
Totally.
we've been facing a lot of challenges building Groovy Market, and I mean, it's natural challenges of building on the blockchain.
Yeah,
So the
yeah, because it's
infrastructure
limited.
is still exactly. So I
Yeah,
mean, it will be great to get there, but we are just not quite there yet. We will
yeah,
get. And to finish is just to highlight how Polygon holds 79% of all decentralized prediction markets. I would just
just by
question
having
about
Polymarket.
just
Oh
by
no,
having
Zero
Polymar. I mean,
Protocol.
it's not a surprise. I mean, and this decentralizing in the way that it's structured on a blockchain. But we believe that a real decentralized prediction market platform should give you the end user the ability to create the markets and not just relying on the markets created
Yeah,
by the platform itself. So that will be truly decentralized.
yeah. I think this is the thing. It's like I guess like Polymarket feels more like a Web 2.5 rather than a Web 3, right? It's built on a blockchain. Excellent. They proved the market. Like absolutely nothing negative to say about Polymarket or
Oh,
Kalshi
not at
because
all.
they totally smashed it. Um, but we do need to move towards decentralization, right? And people will be like, "Oh, the resolution needs to be decentralized." Yes, it does, like at some point, but nobody's
Mhm.
figured out how to technically get a resolution that we can fully trust. You always need humans in it, right? But we can decentralize who gets to ask questions and who gets to create narratives, and that's far more powerful than who gets to resolve. Because if
Mhm.
somebody rugs you in in the resolution, there's a very good chance that the legal systems that you live within can you can sue them through that, right?
Mhm.
Or whatever.
Mhm.
They don't even necessarily need to be based there, right? They could if they're feeding the sites to their populations, like particularly within Europe, and I think with the US as well. You can probably
Mhm.
sue them if they injure you in some way or another. But what we're struggling with right now across all prediction markets is the liquidity issue. And
Mhm.
they're only going to continue asking the questions in the categories that they have that make them money. And that's totally understandable and totally fair.
Mhm.
But if we decentralize who gets to add, who gets to create a question and who gets to add liquidity, then we're talking about a whole other thing. Like it's a
Mhm.
whole other thing in that
Another
world. It's
level of
like
prediction
it's
markets.
is
Yeah.
of information. Like it's another
Yeah.
level of information. Oh, and I've said this before. It's like I'm actually like I really like the politics, and I'm not so much of a sports guy, right? But the politics, the geopolitics, the business stuff, I'm really into that, and I really like it. But I want to see somebody or a group of people create markets on things that I just didn't even think people bet on or would bet on,
Mhm.
and it's useful information, right? You know, like oh, that's a really local niche thing that's quite interesting. I could
Mhm.
maybe create a
Mhm.
market like that in my own area.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And,
yeah,
yeah, and maybe because we don't see those markets, we don't get interested because we don't even know that they could
exactly, exactly.
exist.
Well, if we go back, if we think about that chart that we saw earlier, where Polymarket used because it's user acquisition, right? They used the election to onboard a whole bunch of people, and then those people
Mhm.
ate up sports. They were like,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm
Yes.
here, so I'm going to eat up." Like that's what I presume. I can't imagine that they onboarded sports deliberately at the same time. I think it
Mhm.
happened as an event of this much bigger, broader. It
Mhm.
affects
Mhm.
everybody, and I mean, and a US election it affects every goddamn person on this planet. Like,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
they onboarded everybody using elections because it's interesting to everybody, and then
Mhm.
was like, oh, by the way, here is a whole bunch of sports markets
A
that you can
whole
bet
bunch
on
of
at any
things that
time.
you can play around with as
Oh,
well.
yeah, that's your
Yeah.
team. You love that team. There you go. Have it. You know.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Dude, I think we did enough for today. I just want to say thanks to everyone who has been listening to us.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us, subscribe, retweet, tag anyone that you think you could be interested in listening to this conversation. And we'll be back tomorrow. So we've been
Yeah.
talking from Monday to Thursday. Um, 30 minutes, 1 hour about prediction markets. If you see any interesting content that you will like us to discuss here, just highlight us, just tag Groovy Market on Twitter, and that's it. And make sure to subscribe to the Daily Prediction, our newsletter on Substack that goes out
Yeah.
every
And
weekday.
And we're also like, we're happy if there's like some people out there with great takes around prediction markets and like to write about it. Happy to feature in the newsletter. So like our DMs are open. Just get in touch and chat to us. We are quite normal people who do respond.
Yeah, we don't look normal, but we are.
No, I don't look normal.
I promise. Yeah.
I don't feel normal.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us, and have a great day.
Yeah, see you.